Hi. All right. I'm here to share with you the tutorial to make this 8.5 by 11 album. Now this is my version and with the Authentique Always collection, and this is also my phototype. So we're going to be working with a completely different Authentique paper tonight, and actually I will be using white cardstock, but I did want to show you. This is the 8.5 by 11, and it is 6 pages. Oh, it's 5 pages. Sorry, it is 5 pages, and the spine is uh, the spine was 3.5 inches. And with this one, I found a couple of things that I'm going to modify on during my tutorial, and through my walkthrough of the album, I kind of touched base on which part I was going to modify because it just didn't work out the way I thought it would or I should have, and which is causing it to be bulky and not lay absolutely flat when you open it. And when I make albums, I really like my albums to lay completely flat and not be buckled. And what I did, I wasn't thinking, but trial and error, and that you learn from your mistakes. I made a couple of I did a few things that I probably wouldn't do again, and so I definitely won't be doing it in this tutorial. But here's what we're going to do, and we're going to start with our pages. So you are going to need, let me get my little cheat sheet here. I had it. Where did I do it? I just had it. Come on. What the heck did I just do with that? Alright, I'm losing my mind already. Okay, it's in here. It's mixed in with something because it was just right here. So here's the paper that I'm going to be using, we'll be using for this tutorial, and it is the Authentique, and it is called Classic Beauty Collection, which is just absolutely gorgeous, and the yellow, blacks, and the cream colors. I'm not normally a yellow person, but this paper is just fabulous and gorgeous. This was in the fall surprise box that I bought from Country Craft Creations. If you haven't bought one of the surprise boxes that Tamara puts out during the fall and the spring, I didn't pick up the spring one because I hoard paper, and if you could see my paper, you would absolutely agree. I don't need any more right now, but that's okay. I use it eventually, and that's what's the important part about it. So, it is going to be Authentique Classic Beauty. I don't think that this is available anymore, but you could always check with Tamara and see if she can find out if Authentique has any, but it is gorgeous. I'm just going to kind of share with you a little bit of it, and hopefully I can find my cheat sheet for my album so I can tell you what we need to cut our papers. So, but it's got the beautiful cream color, and then the yellow, and some newspaper print type of thing. Full black and cream polka dots, which I just love polka dots, so that really just speaks to me. Yellow and cream, smaller polka dots, and then you've got the other side, which is a brighter yellow. This is just absolutely gorgeous. Look at this flower print. So this is going to be a fun album to make, and it doesn't come with any cut-aparts, so this is going to be a little bit challenging for me because I'm going to try to create my own. As I decorate the book, and do a few things different since I don't have the cut-aparts, but I definitely will be making tags. Now, I still didn't I found it. It's on the floor. That's why I couldn't find it. All right. So, my little cheat sheet here, I got it right here. So, let's begin. So, what you're going to need, again, the album is 8.5 by 11. So, I used, for the cover, I used 8.5 by 11 cardstock or chipboard, And then pages, I did use 12 by 12s because you're going to need on your base page, you can actually use 8.5 by 11 for 5 of the pages and the base pages, because your base pages, you need 5 of them that are 8 by 10.5. So these are the base pages. So you need 5 of these, 8 by 10.5. And then you're going to need 5 sheets for the second part of your base page at 9 by 11. So I use the 12 by 12 cardstock. So here's what we're going to do. So let me get my scoreboard out here. I actually cleaned my craft room today. I had some unexpected guests show up from California, and the first thing you walk in the room, I took my formal dining room and made it my craft room. So you walk in my door, and that's the first thing you see, and oh Lord, it was a disaster. But hey, she knows how I am. She's a crafter too. So she just went ahead and just laughed and kept on going. I thought, oh, thank God. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Let me look at it and see if I remember how we're doing this, because it's been a week now. That says a lot right there, huh? How about my mind, where it is? Okay, so you're going to start with your 9 by 11 sheet, and you're going to 9 across, the 9 inches across. You're going to score it a half, bring it around, turn it, and score it another half, and then you're going to turn it back, and you're going to score at a half at the top. Okay, so we'll do one more. I'll do one more with you, and then we'll create the pages so you can get it. Okay, so you're 9 inches across, and then you're 10 and 11 inches down. So you want to score half an inch here. You want to rotate the page. You want to score half an inch on the other side, and you want to rotate it one more time, and you want to score it. And now this is the 11 inch width, and you want to score it at a half. Okay, so I'm only going to do 2 pages because I've already done the other ones, and this is what it's going to look like when we're finished. So you're actually going to have a page that your pages are going to be 8 by 10.5, and then this is going to be, this will be your attached to your hinge. This side here that's open, and then the top that has a half an inch, we're going to use that because of this. I found, and this is a trick I learned from off of one of Tamara's videos, is keeping that open. It really helps to be able to get it, because that page is so long, onto that hinge and not get stuck and where you're just fighting with it. So it really does help. And then after you're done, we're going to fold this one down, and then you're just going to apply your score tape or your wet adhesive. Now, I will be using art glitter glue for this whole album. The only thing I don't use the glitter glue on is my cover. And I will show you how I do my covers once we get the pages made. So, you should have 5 of your 9 by 11. And you want to score it a half an inch on 3 sides. And then you want to come down just like you would normally do on a pocket. You want to go ahead and miter the corner here. Just makes it look neater and less bulkier when we fold in that flap. Okay, so I've got my half an inch, my half an inch, my half an inch down here, and then I just mitered the corners. I'm going to move this out of the way for a minute. So you want to go ahead and fold over on your score lines and burnish. Okay. We want to do the same thing on the other side. Now, you don't have to fold this one over. I do, because I find it's easier when it's not together to go ahead and get it folded over and burnished. But then I do fold it back up like this. But this also, I like doing pages like this when we have a big album. We're not going to have the tab, the extra tab inside for inside the pocket. These will be closed. But this also allows me to know what page is my up page and what page is my hinge page. So, all right. So then you've got one of those ready, and what we're going to do is take one of our 8 by 10.5 papers, okay, sheets, and oh, I just threw my paper, little index card on the floor again. Put that over there. So I'm just going to add glue to one side and go ahead and line up your edges. And we're going to do the other one. These pages are really easy to put together. They're quick and easy. And they're great when you're using for larger albums. They're a great way to do your pages when you're using larger albums. So, okay, so, oh, that definitely didn't line up, did it? Just work your pages to work with you. Alright, so there's one. So like I said, I'm only going to do 2 with you because I've already done the other 3. I think I did. Yes, I did. Okay, the other one's hiding. So we're going to go ahead and get the second page, and I'll walk you through this one again. So you've got a 1/2 inch, a 1/2 inch, and a 1/2 inch scored down here. Okay, so you just want to miter your corners. And this is my 8 by 10.5. So go ahead and fold your score lines over. Okay. Like I said, I like to fold mine over. You don't have to, but I do. And just add your adhesive or your score tape, whichever you're using. I go a little bit heavy on the glue. And I don't have to because this art glitter glue, it definitely sticks. I have not, with all the albums I make, just like Tamara, I have not had one fall apart yet. It's very sturdy. It adheres quick and dries quick too as well. So you don't need a whole lot of it, even though there's some of us that don't get that through our heads and we just keep adding glue, like myself, until it comes out the sides, and then I have it all over my hands, and I end up having to stop and wash my hands a couple of times to get the glue off because everything sticks to them. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and give you a few minutes and let you finish up your other 3 pages. Okay, so now I'm going to bring my album back over here for just a second to show you. Alright, so when I say page 1 and 2, this is page 1, this is page 2, okay? Oh, wait a minute. Did I do that right? No, this is page 1. This will be page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5, page 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10, and then you have your back cover and you have your front cover, okay? So we're going to work on page 1, and what we're doing is we're going to have double flaps. We're going to have a pocket, and you're going to have, you can use a decorative trim on your pocket. Um, I didn't, I'm not sure if I'm going to with this one or not. I think I will, only because I really, really like the look. So I'm going to have to grab my punch too. So, and then this is a pocket as well. And I don't have anything in there. But that is a pocket as well. Okay. Now, on this one that I'm making right now tonight as well, I'm not going to use magnets on here. Majority of these pages are held together with magnets. God, I can't talk tonight. I'm sorry. But this one, this new one, I'm actually going to go ahead and do my pages, put my paper on, and then I'm going to add some eyelets. And I think I'm going to take some seam binding and kind of do like a small corset type of a closure on the new one. So I just think that would be pretty with that paper. So let's put that one off. Move this one off to the side again. Okay, so page 1. So you want to cut 2 pieces of your cardstock at 5 3/4 by 7. So let me find my page 1 here. I swear I was organized prior to getting on this. But here I am. I'm okay. I'm good. Okay, so page 1. All right. Now, this is your top of your page for page 1. This bottom part down here that's open will go attached to the hinge. So, what you want is you want two pieces of cardstock cut at 5 3/4. Okay, and move this back over. And on these two, you're going to score them at a 1/2 inch. So it's 5 3/4 across and score at a 1/2 inch. All right, and the same with the second one. On the 5 3/4, score at a 1/2 inch. You're also going to need 1 piece of a 3 by 11.5, which is going to be your main pocket on the back of your page. So you want to cut 3.5 by 11, and yeah, 3.5 by 11. No, it's 3 by 11. I don't know why I've got a half there. I tried to make it so I could do this a little bit easier when I was talking and trying to talk and do the same thing. Sometimes it's hard for me. Have you ever tried to? I'm one of those that you can't walk and chew bubblegum at the same time, I guess. So, okay, so you want to score just like a normal pocket. You want to score on all 3 sides. Okay. And I like to score on this end because then I know it's always a 1/2 inch. So, hang on just a minute. I'm going to grab my decorative punch because I do want to do a decorative punch on this. And this is just the Martha Stewart punch. And it's the same one I used on the other one. I like that. And I think it's a little bit. I know we all use our punches differently, and I cannot work it the way it's meant to be by setting it down and moving it this way. I just can't do it. So I do it my way. And even though we went over the score line, that's okay. It will still work. Okay. Get all my little scraps. I'll get it in the trash can now. So I don't have to run the vacuum cleaner before my guests arrive. Come back tomorrow afternoon. They live in California, and I'm originally from California, so their daughter lives at about 2.5 hours south of me in the bottom of Kentucky. And so about every 2 or 3 years, they come up to see their daughter and their grandkids, and so they always drive up to see me. And this is the first time she's been in Kentucky. She used to live in Tennessee, so the drive's going to be even shorter for them. So they showed up yesterday unannounced, which is fine, because I just was so happy to see them. And then they're coming back tomorrow, and all my kids will be here, since my kids grew up with their kids, and their daughter and my oldest daughter were best of friends. So they're all coming over tomorrow to just spend some time with them after we all get off work. So I said I will fix dinner, and since all my kids and grandkids will be here, I figured I better have something to eat for them. So, alright. So, there's my pocket, okay? So, I'm talking, and I'm not showing you what I did. So, I did the decorative punch. I came back, and I mitered my corners. I don't know if you can see that or not. Let's see if I can get a piece of yellow. So, see, I mitered my corners. Can you see that? On both sides. And then I came down and cut, and then I angled off on the sides, at the top sides. So we put that aside, and then we have one more. I'm going to move this out of the way again. And this piece you're going to cut a piece of cardstock 4 inches by 5 1/4. Okay? And what this is it's going to be our diagonal corner pockets for the inside of your flaps. Okay? And then we're missing, okay, we got one more too. So what I do on this, I'm going to try to move it up. So I take this corner to this corner and line it up on my, I bought a new cutter today too, and it's out in my car. I didn't even bring it in. And then you just want to bring it down. So then you have your two corners for your 2 pockets, I'm sorry. Okay, and then one more sheet. You're going to need cut a 8 by 2 3/4, and this is going to be your pocket for your front tab, your flap. Okay, so you want to again score 1/2 inch on all 3 sides. So we're going to bring it down this way, and again this is 8 by 2 3/4. And bring it this way. And bring it this way. And then I've got my pocket. So I need to go ahead and I'm going to add my decorative trim here. Okay. Alright. Yeah, I am not the neatest crafter in the world, so it looks like I'm going to be vacuuming as soon as I run home tomorrow, get home from work, I'm going to have to run the vacuum cleaner real quick before they get here. Or I do before they get here, because those little pieces from those punches just go everywhere with me. Maybe it's because the way I punch, because I do punch upside down, I guess. So. Alright, so we're going to miter our corners. Miter the corners at the top as well. Can you see that? Yeah. Alright. So we've got everything ready. Now we can start putting our pages together. Again, remember, this flap up here is your top. The bottom is what's going to attach to your hinge. So we're going to start with our side flaps. Now our page is 8 by 10.5. We cut these at 7 inches long, so that's going to allow for about a 1/2 inch from the top and a 1/2 inch from the bottom to line up. You can measure it. I don't measure, I eyeball. I'm your typical, just do it the easiest way I know how, and I just eyeball it. So what I do is I just come up here and I eyeball it. It looks like a 1/2 inch. And if I could measure it, and let's see how far off I am. So there's 12. I'm pretty much on it. 1/2 inch right there. So now, this tricky part is putting your glue on and then getting that 1/2 inch again. So, all right. So I'm just going to add my glue. You can, if you're not using the liquid wet adhesive, use your score tape, whatever you're comfortable using as your adhesive. And I'm just going to line that right up to the side of the edge of the paper. And I'm going to burnish it down. Okay. I apologize. I know the white is hard to see, but I don't know if it's any better than the black or not. So, all right. Now just make sure that you kind of match these up again with one another. You don't want one side lower than the other or higher than the other. All right, and line it up just to the edge of that. And then when you're done at the end, after we've decorated our pages, we'll tuck that in like that. So, and like I said, now, if you're going to use, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hit the camera. All right, I'm not going to put magnets on these. So these are going to be floppy because I'm not putting magnets on it. Now, the other one I did on both of them, but because I want to do, and these I'm going to have to trim because they're right up on top of one another. So I'm going to trim that just a slight here. I'm going to try to take just 1/8 of an inch off. Okay. Hopefully I only have to do it on one, and it did. So I did. Perfect. Now it's not. Now they're laying flat next to each other, not on top of one another. Okay. So you want to have cut your pocket. Remember, this is your 3 by 11. We scored it all 3 sides. I used the decorative punch. Now I'm going to go ahead and put my pocket down because I can add my paper to the back page after I put my pocket on. Now, if you're going to use magnets, definitely put them on now, because if you're like me, I always have a tendency to forget, and then I'm in trouble. So, all right, you want to line these up. Now, you may have to check, because I'm going to tell you right now, the way I did it, it's going to buckle here because this is too close. And I'm going to tell you, I did this wrong. You should always dry measure it before you put your adhesive on, and I didn't on that one because I'm busy talking. So I'm going to have to, I'm just going to create my little bit of a score line next to it, just like 1/8 of an inch. And run back here and put this down real quick again, and hopefully it's going to work. And if not, we'll add some more glue. And I think let's see. For some reason that top is just not. I don't want it to catch when I close this one, and that's what it was doing. So now it's not catching. All right, and this one is fine. So I'm just going to add some more glue on this one. All right. So now when I go to put my decorative page in here, because of my pocket's got some width in it, I don't put my paper all the way down here. When I add my design paper, I don't put it all the way to the bottom. I just bring it to about to here. You can't, people don't look down. I haven't found anybody that is going to look all the way down into a pocket. This one did not here. Definitely needs more glue. So I saved my paper a little bit, so, and it does help because that, if you cut it for, let's see, so I'm only going to cut mine about 6 inches instead of 8, so it saves 2 inches on it. So that's another 12 by 12, and that's going to give you another 6 inches of your heaven paper. Okay, so we got the inside on. Now, these are the pockets that go here, and we didn't score these because these are the type that I just add the little bit of adhesive. Once I cover it with paper, then I'll come in and add just a little bit of adhesive, which I'll show you here, and then I lay it down. Now these I do want to have the border trim on it, so I'm going to go ahead and do mine right now. And again, you don't have to use a border punch. I make many albums without it, with just a straight edge, and they look beautiful as with the straight edge as they do with the border punch. It's just your choice, I guess. So. Okay, so that's just going to fit right there. So when we add it on, okay. So I'm doing that now so I don't forget, because I have a tendency to sometimes start adding paper and start decorating and totally don't even think about what I'm doing. I just start throwing paper on there. So, all right. So I'm not going to add these on right now because I have to put my paper on first, my designer paper on. So what I do is, so I know where they are, I'm going to take them and I'm just going to put them in that pocket right there, so they're there. And I don't forget to use them after making the mess of the punch. Okay, so almost done. All we have left is the last pocket. And this one is your 8 by 2 3/4, and I already added my decorative punch to it. And I mitered my corners. Now I'm folding down my 3 score lines. Okay, add my glue. Really excited to decorate this one. Use this paper on here because I think it's going to be gorgeous. Against, wish I had some of the linen colored cardstock. I'm out because I used it for a baby album, and I just ordered some more. But so I have white, so I thought, well, I'm just going to use white so I can get this tutorial done. Okay, there's page 1. Pretty easy. Let's go to page 2. So we just flip it over, and again, this 1/2 inch flap is your top. Page 2 is his and her pages in my album. So this was the bride side, this is the groom side, and we're going to have an open book here, and then we're going to have the waterfall right here. So So page 2 and 3 are exactly the same. So for one page, you need one piece of cardstock cut at 5 3/4 by 7. You need one 5 1/4 by 7. Let me go ahead and pull these out. Okay. So there's my 5 3/4 by 7. My 5 1/4 by 7. And then you need a 4 1/2 by 7. And here's my 4 1/2 by 7. And then you need 6 pieces cut 4 1/2 by 4 1/2, which is your waterfall. Okay, so there it is. So let's start with the 5 3/4 by 7. And I may have to get my scoreboard up here. So we'll get this all ready. We'll just do all the scoring here. So if you need time to cut your paper, or you're hopefully you can follow along. If not, I will try to slow down. So 5 3/4 by 7, you're going to score on the 5 3/4 side 1/2 inch. Okay. And then you want to get your 6 4 1/2 by 4 1/2. And it doesn't matter what side because they're all 4 1/2. And you're just going to score at a 1/2 inch down to make your waterfall. Now while you're cutting these, since page 2 and page 3 are exactly the same, you're going to cut the same exact paper for page 3. So I sometimes like to just, knowing that I have, when I do a book that's got 2 identical pages, I just cut my paper all at one time. So if that helps. So 6 of your 4 1/2 by 4 1/2, which is your waterfall. You've got your 4 1/2 by 7, which is your base for your waterfall. And then you've got your 5 3/4 by 7, and then 5 1/4 by 7. So, all right. So on the 5 3/4, score on the score mark, burnish it down. And what we're going to do is we're going to make our little book. All right. So match up the edges and make sure that they're all, I cut them all the same, because sometimes I cut crooked. So I like to check before I glue them together. I'm going to add my adhesive to my score fold, and then I'm going to match it up to this. Now I'm going to tell you ahead of time too, and I apologize, but you'll see when I go to why I'm going to share. I don't normally do tutorials on decorating my books, but this one I am, because you have to put your paper down on this before you can put any of these down. So, but that's okay. We can get them ready. All right. So then, so that when you've got your paper down, your pattern paper down, then you're going to, let me see, I got a piece of paper here. Okay, so let's show you this one. Isn't that pretty? That one's pretty too. So you're going to add your paper, your background paper. Then you're going to take this and you're going to cover the outside and the 2 inside. And then the back, you're just going to add your adhesive, and then you'll center it on here. Okay. And then your waterfall, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to have your base, which I'm going to show you now how to attach your waterfall. And then this will all be here. So you can't put either one of these on until after you put your back pages on. So let's move on to the waterfall. Go ahead, and you've got your 4 1/2 by 4 1/2. We scored it a 1/2. So now our waterfall is going to be a 4 by 4.5 mat. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and fold all mine over and burnish them all at the score line just so I can have them ready. It's a little bit quicker for me. And really, this album, as big as it is, it really goes fast. It really does. It's not, and it's easy. It's to me, it's a very easy. I think a beginner can do it because there's just basic folds and flaps. There's nothing really fancy about it. So, okay, so let's. Now, if you use your score tape, you would want to put your score tape on all of your folds right here. So I'm just going to add my glue. And because I have writing on this, I'm going to turn it over. I don't want it to even take the chance that it might even show. I don't think it would, but I just don't want to chance it. Alright, so let me see if I can move this up here. So I put my wet glue on the fold, and I'm just going to match it up to my base. Like I said, I like my glue, as you can see. Okay, there's our first one. And take our second one. Just bring it up next to the one that you just laid. Matching up your edges. So when you fold the top one down, they're going to be edge to edge. Do the next one. Now you don't on waterfalls, I don't know if everybody does it, but for me, I do not miter my corners. I keep them all raw, straight edge. That way I think, to me, I'm able to match them up better. Straighter, they come out straighter, and it's just easier. Less cutting too. Alright. This one seems to be off. I don't know what's going on with it. If I didn't fold it right, or if I didn't cut it right. It's a little bit off. Right there. So, it's like I'm just going to trim it up a little bit. Yep. It was just a sliver. That's all I had to cut off, but it was enough to irritate me. So, okay, 2 more. Alrighty. And the last one. As you can see as you're making this as well, this is going to hold lots and lots of photos. So it makes for a good size for a wedding album, because that is definitely one event that has lots and lots of pictures. So, alright, so there's our waterfall. And then, of course, again, you don't want to attach it until you have your back on here. But what I do, and this is just my preference, I'm going to go ahead and trim my edges, use one of my punches and do my edges. And then I'm also going to go ahead and cover my pages with my designer paper and before I even attach it. To me, that's just easier. So, and I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'm going to cover the front and the two insides. You don't have to do the back because you're going to glue that one down. Now you can come back because if you're not making yours for a wedding, and I don't think this one I'm doing is going to be for a wedding, so I may add like a pocket here, and then I can have some tags, and then maybe over here I will just do like one big tag and then have like a little stopper down here. I don't know yet, but that's the nice thing about this is there's so many different options you can do to make it your own and personable. So, okay, so there's page 2. Now, we're going to do the exact same thing for page 3. So you want to get page 3 out. Now, page 3, again, you're on page 2, your top was on your left-hand side. Page 3, your top is going to be on the right-hand side because these are going to go down onto your hinges, okay? So we're going to do the same exact thing for page 3. So you need 4 or 6 4.5 by 4.5 cardstock. You need 1 4.5 by 7, which is your waterfall base. You're going to need 1 5 1/4 by 7 and 1 5 3/4 by 7. And we're going to need our scoreboard back up here. So let's go ahead and get it up here. So you're going to take your 5 3/4 by 7 and go ahead and just score it 1/2 inch down. And then you want to take the 6 different 4.5 by 4.5 sheets and go ahead and score them at 1/2 inch. Oops. Okay. Alrighty. So get those done. And I'm going to go ahead and fold my score line over on my 5 3/4. Add my adhesive. And make my little book. Okay. Now, move on to our waterfall. And again, I'm going to turn it over with the writing on the back. Even though it's pencil, I'm sure I wouldn't see it once I put these down, but I don't want to take a chance. And I could probably erase it prior to doing this, but yeah, I'll just turn it over. Oh. Sorry if I'm out of focus on the camera. I forget. I have a tendency, I like to work closer to myself, and I don't know why. But I don't notice I do it until I'm on the camera, if that makes sense. I don't remember working that way when I normally do my books, but I guess maybe I do. So, alrighty. Alright, so here we go. Make another waterfall. Now, something that I'm not sure, I just thought I'd mention it. Back in October, November, Tamara did a last call for glue because of the winter months coming, and they couldn't ship the art glitter glue through the winter. So I purchased 2 of the 16-ounce bottles. Um, and I've done quite a few albums. I've lost count, to be truthful, and I've done some big albums. So I'm thinking, you figure October, I've done at least 2 or 3 in October. I did 2 in November. I know I did 2 in December, plus some other ones. I did 2, maybe 3 in January. I'm trying to think of some of my commission ones too. But this is how much this glue lasts. So I did buy 2 16 ounces. I used 1 bottle already, and I'm still 3/4 full on this one, and it's already May. The glue lasts a long time because you don't have to use a lot of it. So this is just, compared to the price of score tape, this is just a lifesaver for us that make a lot of books. And it, like I said, it's fabulous glue. I have not had anything fall apart on me. I love it. And I was not a glue person at all. Kind of like Tammy, I didn't use glue because I didn't like it. Number one, I use a lot. I'm one of those that just don't have a light hand with anything. I've got to have a heavy hand. And it would just saturate my paper to the point that it would buckle, crinkle, have ripples in it. So I was skeptical about ordering this, and I watched Tammy demonstrate it a couple times. I watched her make a couple albums with it, and then I ordered it. And I'll tell you what, I just love it. So if you're on the fence about trying the glue, you don't have to buy the big size, the 16 ounce. I believe it comes in 8 ounces as well. And then it also comes in the 2 ounce. So if you just want to try it, grab the 2 ounce. It comes with the tip. Tammy sells it with the tip. And the tips are, easy to use, easy to clean. They really control the glue that comes out, the amount of glue that comes out. And so, yes, that's my selling spiel right there for the glue. You can tell I'm a designer for the company, can't you? But I'll tell you, I wouldn't tell you to go buy it if I didn't love it myself. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't recommend things that if I won't use it, I don't recommend it. So, and this I do. I live by it now. So, and actually, it's funny because I was placing an order earlier this evening, and I was going through and I had to get my magnets because I go through magnets like there's no tomorrow. I mean, and they're the best. Basic gray magnets are the best, and that's the only kind I use. But I was placing an order. I placed a pretty big order. It's been a couple of weeks. I usually order once a week. That's honest God's truth. Plus, I get my DT kit on top of it, and I get the Craftology kit every month as well. But anyways, so I kind of looked. I thought, oh God, I got to get glue. I was, thinking I'm going to not have enough. And I looked, and I was like, oh my God, I cannot believe that I still have 3/4 of a bottle left. So guess what? I was able to buy some flowers and some other stuff instead of buying glue now. So I did, not that I saved money, but I didn't have to buy my glue, so I'll get that the next time. But anyways, I'm just panicking because I was going to run out of glue, and then I realized that I had so much. So, okay. So now we have page 3 done, just by me rambling around here. So when you look at how many pictures this is going to hold, so page 1, just on these 3 pages, so page 1, you're going to have, you can put 2 photos here, 1 photo here. You have a couple of mats in here that's going to hold photos. You're going to have 2 pockets here that you can put a couple of mats in that's going to hold photos. You can put photos up here, and then you can also have mats in here that's going to hold photos as well. So that right there, so I'm going to say 1. I'm going to say 2 here. 2, so that's 4, 6, 7. I'd probably put 2 4x6s, so that's 8, 9. And then you have a couple of mats. That's 11 photos right there for that page. Just off the top of my head. So then you come over here to these two pages, and these are identical. So you've got one, or you could put two smaller ones. I'm just gonna go with the one. All right. So 1, 2, 3, and then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 places per photos on each of these pages. So that's 24 photos right there. Plus figure 10 on the front page. That's 34 photos and just 3 pages. So, and I like to make I like to have my albums be able to hold lots of photos, especially if it's for me, yes, but even when I'm making it for, outside on commissions, I still like to make sure that they have plenty of area for photos. All right, well, we're moving right along here, so now we're going to move on to page 4. Now, page 4 and 5 are identical as well, okay? So it's kind of nice about this album, is it each page, it's a double. So this one, you're going to have, oh, my flower fell off. Oh my gosh, I have to reglue that. So this one, you're going to have a flap with a pocket, and then it's going to open up to, sorry, see if I can get this in film, a side pocket. Okay, and you can do the side pocket, or if you can do it this way too, whichever you prefer, but the tutorial I'm doing is this way. Then you have this flap that you can hold photos on. It opens up, and see what I was talking about? Number one, this doesn't lay flat because of the pearls on this. They look pretty, but I would not recommend it because it does not allow your pages to lay flat, and I like my books to lay flat. So then you've got your whole 8 by 10.5 space here. Then you've got another pocket, and look at this. I forgot to put paper on that, and I have to do that. When I was doing my walkthrough, I noticed it, and I still haven't fixed it, so I gotta make me a note to do that. And then this one, you're going to be able to have a couple of photomats in here. So again, lots of room for pages. Okay, and then this one's the exact same. It's just the opposite, opens the opposite way, so it opens this way and then this way. All right, so, and again, lots of room for photos. Oh, there's my flower. I gotta glue that one back on. So, moving on to page 4. And again, page 4 and page 5 are going to be identical. So if you want to make double of what I'm telling you to cut, go ahead. So you need one paper clip off here. One at 5 3/4 by 8. So that's going to be your flap, okay? Then you're going to need one. Oh, you're going to need a 1 by 7 by 8. And for some reason, I don't have it here. What the heck did I do? Well, let me grab my paper and we'll cut one real quick. Actually, I'm going to cut 2. Okay, so then you want to cut 2, or the next one's going to be 5 1/4 by 7. Cut her out. Actually, I don't need 2 pieces of paper because one's going to do it. I'll bring that here to 7. And then I'm going to cut 1 at 5 1/4. That's not right. Oh, because I'm reading the wrong page. Oh my gosh, Jackie. Alright. You need... Oh. Hope you didn't cut paper yet. one 5 3/4 by 8, and then you need one 7 by 8. I am going to need another piece of paper, but that's all right. Okay. So that makes it right. So you want this one for here. This is your flap for here. Okay. And then you want two 3 by 9 pieces. And then you want one 4 by 6 and 1/4 piece. Okay. So let's go ahead and move all this extra paper that I'm just sitting over here cutting like crazy. All right. Because after all, I have so much paper, right? All right. So taking the 5 3/4 by 8, you're going to just, on the 5 3/4 across, you want to come down a 1/2 inch. On the 7 by 8, on the 7 across, you want to come over and just score it at a 1/2 inch. Okay. And then on the 2 of the 3 by 9s, you're going to score it on all 1/2 inch on all 3 sides. So a half, and a half. Let's do it again. Half, and half. And then on the 4 and 6 and 1/4, you're going to score that at a half again. Flip it, score it at another half, and then score it at the bottom. So again, you're making your pocket scores, your 3 scores. Okay, let's go ahead and miter our corners on our pockets. And again, if you're going to use a decorative punch, this is the time to do it as well. Now also I'm going to, because these are the same width as my paper, 8 inches long, I'm going to miter the tops and the bottom of my paper, my corner, or top and the bottom edges, just slightly. And why I do that is when I go to put my designer paper down, it just kind of takes away a little bit of the bulk, and you don't have that line there at the bottom, that cutoff line is why I do that. And I'm going to do it to the same thing for the other one, because the 7 by 8 is definitely the same size. All right. Get my scraps here. Okay. All right. So if you're using a decorative punch, you want to use it on your 2 pockets. You're actually just your 3 pockets, your 3 pocket tops. So go ahead and do that. And while I'm doing mine, smooth that over. Oh, okay. We'll just do it this way. I messed that one up. I think it'll be all right. Okay. Okay. All right. So page 3 is, or page 4, I'm sorry. This is page 4. So this, your top's going to be on your score, half an inch score is going to be on your left-hand side. Go ahead and grab your 5 3/4 by 8. I'm going to put that down first. And we're going to just match it up to that score line on that one. Not going over onto the tab at all. Can you tell I lose things as I'm walking around tapping things? All right. And it's late. I did work this morning. Even though it's Sunday, I did work for a few hours. So I've been up since about 5. So I may get a little slap happy here too, since it's going after 10 o'clock already. But I wanted to make sure I got this done. I wanted to do it Saturday night, and then it was my oldest grandson's birthday, and he wanted the family to all go up to this entertainment place, which has, it was kind of neat. It's called Scene 75 or 75 Scene, or it's Scene 75. And it had bumper cars and go-karts and video games and your arcade games and a whole room full of bouncy houses for the younger ones, and just had a ball. So we went up there, and not what I planned on doing, but I did. Went, and so I didn't get this done Saturday night like I said I was going to, which I feel bad about. So, all right. Let's see. Just cutting off my tops. Okay, I'm going to dry fit this one before I put my adhesive on. This is the pocket for our top flap. Something I want to mention too that I totally forgot, and I just want to, while I'm thinking about it, I want to bring it to your scent. So on our waterfalls on page 2 and 3, I said something about I was going to decorate them before I put them on. Make sure that you put your magnet here and a magnet on the back so it holds it before you put your paper on. And I didn't say anything about magnets. The same for this, your card. So you're going to adhere it to the background paper. I usually put my magnet here, and then I'll put another one here on the back, and then glue it down onto my paper. So that's magnetic too. Okay. Just sitting here, think about it. Like I said, my mind can go in different directions all the time. So I wanted to, and I don't remember saying anything to you. Okay, so that's a perfect fit. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut that down a little bit because that's just laying over the top of that, and it's just going to add extra bulk. All right. Line it up. Looks good. And again, because we have that 1/2 inch gusset for our pocket, we can just go ahead and attach our pockets. I did not get that straight. Oh my goodness. What did I not do right here? Because I'm talking instead of watching what I'm doing, obviously. see if I can get it back down. All right. Now, you will want a magnet here, and you want a magnet here. Actually, that's all you're going to need is one here and here, because when it holds this one down, it's going to hold that one down. Okay, so then the last two things for this is our inside pockets. And again, we've got the 1/2 inch gusset on our pockets, so we can go ahead and add them on before we add our design paper. Like I said, I'm excited to make this one with this paper because I've got some gorgeous laces, some black lace and some white lace. I don't know which one I'm going to use, but I can't wait because these are, with those papers, it's going to be so pretty. It's going to be a very feminine book, even though it's going to be yellow and black, but it's going to be feminine. Very girly. Alright, so now when you add your pockets on here, be very careful that you do not, you just want to butt it up to the score line. You do not want to go on top of the score line. Because if you go on top of the score line, it's not going to fold. Okay? So you just want to butt it up as close as you can get it to the score line. You don't have to be on top of it. You just want to be by it. So that way that lays flat. You want to do the same thing with the other envelope. Oh my gosh. Pocket. Oh, I'm telling you. I wonder at times if I'm actually really losing my mind, if I can be that goofy at times. Okay, so burnish my score lines. Alright, there we go. And of course I got to turn it so I can see what I'm doing. Add my glue. Okay. And again, I'm just going to meet up to that score line. I'm not going to put it on top of it. I'm just going to meet up to it and make sure my pocket is edge to edge on this one, on that flap, and there you go. You got page 4 done. Now, page 5 is exact the same way. You want to cut your 5 3/4 by 8. You want to cut your pocket at 4 6 1/4. You want to cut 2 pockets of 3 by 9. And then you want one piece here that is 7 by 8. Okay? So you want to go ahead and cut those and get it ready for page 5. And we'll get that one done. And we're halfway done with our album. I'm going to be right back while you're cutting your paper or getting it ready. And I've got to cut another 7 by 8 because I only cut one. And I just kind of cut up the other sheet I had. So I'll be right back. All right.